So, Brian, we had 25,000 financial mutants tell us what their financial life looked like. And we know who they are and how old they are and what their net worth looks like and what their investable assets look like and their income. And we even know how they consume. But another question that we wanted to ask is we recognize that financial mutants are exactly that. They're mutants. They think and see the world a little bit differently. So we wanted to dive in to the mutant mindset. So for these 25,000 folks, we asked, okay, hey, when was it that you started taking personal finance seriously? Was it something that you figured out early on, or is it something that you're just now stumbling onto? And what we recognize is that when it comes to financial mutants, they have said that they got serious about money. They got serious about understanding finances and the powerful tool that money can be around the age of 25.
Yeah, this is talking about Head Start. I mean, because this is, guys, if you watch any of our content, a lot of you will say, why is the 20s always the longest break? It's because, like, guys, you have the world. I've said it already on this show once. I'll say it again. You have the world by its tail, meaning I don't care what humble background you come from. If you will just do something, don't stand still in your 20s, you will be successful just because the power of compounding growth is just that powerful. Now, we know, and we're going to do a comparison show. We know the typical American doesn't even figure out this concept till they're well into their 30s. Imagine our surprise when we find out the typical financial mutant is 25 years of age, has a wealth multiplier of 44 times.
Huge.
That's the Head Start, guys. That is why you can say, hey, these people are built differently. This is why the mutant fits, is because they're not falling into the traps that it seems like the typical Americans do.
But maybe you're listening to this and you're not 25. That's okay. And maybe you're not 30. That's okay. The absolute best time to have figured out money and to start taking it seriously was yesterday, which means that today is the second best time. So I'd encourage you, if you haven't done this, go to moneyguide.com/resources. You can check out our wealth multiplier deliverable, or you can even play with our tool on the website, because we want you to recognize that while you may not have figured this out as early as others, it is still not too late, because we believe that there's a better way to do money. We believe that you can control your financial future if you start making those decisions today. But Brian, a lot of folks out there, a lot of the average American doesn't do that. They don't either don't educate themselves, they don't take money seriously. They fall into the traps that the general consumer falls into. And one of those traps is debt. And unfortunately, in the world in which we live today, it's gotten so easy that anything I want, I can just swipe and I can have it immediately. Well, I don't have to swipe anymore. I can just tap it. I can just tap now and walk out. And so we asked the question, okay.
Or buy now, pay later.
Yeah, we asked our financial mutants, okay, when it comes to credit cards, how do you use them? Maybe financial mutants recognize how devastating and scary and deadly that they can be. And so maybe financial mutants don't even use credit cards at all. Is that what we found?
Well, Bo, you said something earlier, because when we were looking at mortgage rates, you're like, man, it was only a moment in time that we even had rates that low. So these mutants must be great, just like Millionaire Next Door and other surveys of good mindset people is they maximize the moments. And so when we look at our financial mutants in our audience, over 96% said, hey, credit card use, that's A-okay. Because look, there's, you could get into some online transactions where you're like, I don't want to use cash on this because this might be shady. It's okay with a credit card because the bank will make sure I'm whole if I get in a bad situation. There's all kind of protections. There's warranties. There's rebates. There's rewards. 96% of you are saying, I want to sign up for that opportunity. But here's what I'm happy to report. This is where you once again disconnect, and we'll have content that compares and contrasts this to the general public plus our millionaire clients. 90% of financial mutants, though, are saying credit card use is A-okay. Credit card debt, no way. Because how are you ever going to get ahead if you're paying 20+% to a financial institution when you're hoping in a good year that we make somewhere between 8 to 12%? You guys get it, and it makes me so happy.
You recognize that avoiding risks, avoiding things like debt, avoiding things working against you can be so valuable. And you also take that to your balance sheet. We ask this question, okay, for our financial mutants, you understand if you're following the financial order of operations, Brian, can you hold the thing up for me? If you're following the financial order, in the first 4 steps, 2 of them have to do with emergency reserves and cash on hand. And we said, okay, well, how seriously do our financial mutants take this? And we were so pleased to see that 85% of financial mutants have a fully funded emergency fund. They're not skipping steps. They're not staying too lean. They recognize that cash is a tool in your tool belt that can keep your financial life out of the ditch. They take it seriously, and they have fully funded emergency reserves.
Financial Mutants is the perfect name because these people are, you're just built different. And I think that also goes towards not only your mindset, but your world outlook. I have always been accused of just being an optimist. I always just think things are going to work out. I don't let myself, even when my own children complain about stuff, I'm like, watch how you process and think, because villains and victims, like I said, a lot of us have struggles. We come from many of you out in the audience, you come from very humble beginnings. You have to sometimes go, yes, that's a bad situation, but what can I do to make my situation better? You're trying to figure out, is there silver lining even in this bad opportunity? And when I wrote Millionaire Mission, I tried to make sure that mindset made it in there. I'm so happy to report that, I guess birds of a feather flock together, because it is a 4-to-1 ratio. If you look at how many of our audiences, optimists versus pessimists, it's a 4-to-1 ratio across all incomes.
So it's not just the wealthy. It's not just the people that have huge incomes where you say, okay, yeah, if you're making tons of money, of course you're going to be more happy. No, this is across all income thresholds. Financial mutants recognize, you know what? I'm able to find the silver lining. Brian, one of the things you taught me very, very early on in my career, you said, Bo, all of us, every single one, has a voice in your head. And that voice can either be a positive influence or a negative influence, and you get to choose. And what I think is awesome is when it comes to financial mutants, at a ratio of 4-to-1, you choose to let that voice be positive, and it shows in the results of what your financial situation looks like.
Yeah, don't we all want a cheerleader? We want somebody who's in our corner pushing it. Make sure your mindset reflects that.